Hi, Mary Berger here with Computer Diva. And I had a super busy day today, and I had a lot of aha moments that I wanted to pass on to my clients. So I will kind of go down the list. First of all, I saw three new clients today. That's pretty amazing for one day. Three new clients. Um, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was back over here. I talked about this yesterday. Elijah's computer, my little 9-year-old cousin, and his hard drive is dying. So I'm still in the process of fixing his computer. Not sure I'm going to be able to. The computer is probably 5 or 6 years old, and I think it's overheating, and I think that's what's causing the issue. So still working on that. Still on my bench. Haven't come up with a resolution for that yet. Um, but the takeaway that I wanted to give you on this particular project is it would have been really simple to fix that computer, just pop a new hard drive in and reload the operating system if they had known where to find the recovery CDs. So one thing everybody needs to know is when you buy a new computer these days, well, back in the day, computers used to come with a recovery CD, which basically had the operating system on it. So, in case the hard drive ever died, all you had to do was pop in a new hard drive, run the recovery DVD, CD, DVD, and it would reload the operating system. You're good to go. But probably 7 or 8 years ago, I'm not sure exactly when, computer manufacturers stopped sending recovery DVDs with new computers to save money. But they haven't done a really good job of telling people that they have to make their own. They provide you with the software on the computer in order to make it, but you have to know to go in and make it. So usually when I install a new computer, I create the recovery media, and I keep a whole stock of these little 32 gigabyte thumb drives in my office, and every time I go to install a new computer, I just pop one of those into my bag and I create that recovery media. So in case your hard drive ever dies, now you've got your operating system and you can reload. So I just wanted to let you all know that if you do buy a new computer and you don't have me install it, which is fine, make sure you know that you have to create your recovery thumb drive. 32 gigabyte thumb drive, or usually it will be 3 or 4 DVDs. I recommend the thumb drive, it's much faster. So that is the first tidbit. The second job I did today was a new client, a new attorney client, and it was a really simple job. They had a problem with the mouse no longer working on the computer, and it turns out that, I don't know, they had taken an old PS2 keyboard, which is a keyboard with one of the little round connectors, and they had plugged it into the PS2 mouse port, but they also had a USB mouse plugged into the USB port. So the PS2 keyboard in the mouse port rendered the USB mouse useless. So once I got that resolved, everything was working fine. Next new customer was it was kind of a fun client. It was a flooring company, and basically went and did a lot of work on their computer, straightening out various things, and signed them up for Diva Care, which is really cool. I love when that happens because now I know that that computer will be safe and protected and maintained and cleaned on a regular basis. So another satisfied customer there. Next client was a brand new customer. Was a little skeptical about going there because it was not really a referral. It was a client that nobody could vouch for, and I ended up going into their home, which was out in the country, and I try not to do that. But I mean, the minute I got to the home, I knew my intuition told me that these people were safe and it was okay to go in their house, even though they took me in their basement where there were a bunch of deer and elk head stuffed ones hanging on the wall. But it was fun. But the takeaway on that job was the fact that they had been forced to upgrade their computer to Windows 10, which is, Microsoft was very sneaky about getting Windows 10 onto computers over the past 3 or 4 months. And we had all sorts of cleanup work to do. We had their antivirus software, which was taken off the computer during the Windows 10 upgrade. The customer was never told it was being taken off, but the icon was left on the desktop for the antivirus software. So they thought they were protected when they weren't. And there were then some printer issues, which is very common with Windows 10 upgrades. So we got that all done. So the takeaway from this is when you do a Windows 10 upgrade, you want to check your antivirus software and you want to check your printer software and make sure everything's working correctly. Those are the two areas that are notoriously broken by a Windows 10 upgrade. Now, don't get me wrong, I really love Windows 10. I think it's a great operating system and I recommend it if you're on Windows 8. If you're on Windows 7, you need to think twice about it, and maybe your computer is old enough where it might not be a good idea to upgrade to Windows 10. You might want to just wait until it's time to buy a new computer and get whatever new operating system is out. With that said, you have until July 29th to get your free upgrade for Windows 10, and if you're interested, just let me know. I can walk you through it, or I can do it for you, or I can just do the cleanup afterwards. Whatever you want to do, it works for me. Let's see, and then of course the next appointment I had today was the same issue, Windows 10 upgrade, printer issues, email issues, browser issues, nothing really big. It's just that, you know, sometimes it's enough of a change where people aren't quite sure how to navigate through. So that was really, really easy. And that brings me to the last appointment of the day. Oh my God, how many appointments? I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outside appointments. Elijah's computer that I'm working on, and my last appointment was, the bottom line is the client's going to order a new MacBook Pro, and I get to go set it up probably in the next week or two. So that will be fun. And when I got back to my office, I had a laptop waiting for me. A client had dropped off a laptop at the office while I was gone. So I have that to fix tonight. Not sure what's in store for me there. I think it's a virus issue, but should be pretty easy to clean up. So anyway, and then the last thing I want to talk about is, what is the deal with Pokemon Go? You know, I've reading all sorts of articles on the internet the past 3 or 4 days about, you know, people taking their smartphones, loading the Pokemon Go app on it, and then going out into the world, into the streets, and something about, you know, the GPS is there, and they're walking down the street and, you know, the virtual Pokemon shows up, you know, maybe it shows up in my driveway and all of a sudden somebody's in my driveway saying, oh, there's a Pokemon over there, I've got to go get it. What is up with that? You know, I'm not quite sure what the deal is, but it seems to be a huge craze. And I just want people to think about, okay, so I think it's Nintendo that does the whole Pokemon thing. And who is backing Nintendo? And the fact that there's a GPS connection in this Pokemon Go app, now you've got some company out there who has this app with a GPS, and is this data from the app being sent back to this company, and who is tracking where you're going? And it just sounds really odd to me that all of a sudden we've got all these people running around the world looking for these Pokemon people through this Pokemon Go app, and it just seems a little bit ridiculous to me. And I might suggest that all you people who were playing the Pokemon Go game, maybe you put on your Chewbacca mask and you know, have a little bit of fun with it. I would love to see everybody out there playing Pokemon Go wearing a Chewbacca mask. That way I can identify those people out on the street, just, you know, walking down the street and looking at their text messages, versus those people who are playing Pokemon Go and possibly, you know, going to be going into my driveway or whatever. But if you play Pokemon Go, put on your Chewbacca mask. So that's it for today. And hope you got a few interesting tidbits out of what I had to say today. And have a good evening. Good night.